I'm live, it says. Live. Well, the 440 the 440 live feed was a bust, so I thought I'd go a little bit different direction this time. I'm going to read from a book that my aunt Jean gave me. She was my mother's oldest sister, and she had this book printed up for me on the computer. It generated a name that was for me. My name is Carol Louise King by birth, and so the name that the computer generated for me was Ara Louise K. And that's this is so great. Okay. Okay, so here we go. My friend, the Bluebird, who lost his song. A friendly computer wrote this book especially for you, Carol Louise King, and it comes with loads of love from Aunt Jean. Written by Patricia Thomas, illustrations by Patricia Pennington. My friend, the Bluebird, who lost the song, printed just for you by computer. Copyright 1974, Spencer Gifts, Inc. And the story shows a person sitting at the window here. I assume that's to be Ara Louise K, even though Ara Louise K was a girl. It's okay. It was a bright and sunny morning in Lincoln, Arkansas, which is where I grew up. It looked like a good day to play. Maybe even a good day to have an adventure. So Carol Louise King quickly finished her breakfast and ran outside. What do you think? She had no sooner closed the door behind her than she saw the strangest sight. Right in the middle of Route 2, that's the road I grew up on, hopping towards her was the brightest, bluest bird she had ever seen. Look at the little blue bird. Oh, this bird had 2 eyes and 2 legs and 2 wings like every other bird. But this bird was talking. What's more, it was plain to see that he was very upset. Oh dear, the bird said. Where could it have gone? What could have happened to it? Carol Louise had no idea. That's what they used to call me when I was little. Carol Louise. Carol Louise had no idea what the bird could be talking about, but since she always tried to be a very helpful girl, she walked right up and asked, "What are you looking for? Can I help you?" The bird looked up in surprise. "Why, I don't know," he said. "Maybe you can. I certainly need all the help I can get. You see, I've lost my song." "Lost your song?" Carol Louise exclaimed. "That does sound bad." "It certainly is," said the bird. "Why, poets write poems about bird songs. Musicians write music about bird songs. Writers write stories about bird songs. And here I am without so much as a tweet or a chirp to my name." "What is your name?" asked Carol Louise. "Why, it's Ara Louise K," said the bird. Carol Louise thought that sounded a lot like a name she'd heard before, but she wasn't sure where. Oh, little 70s kids. Do you know where Carol Louise could have heard that name before? Carol Louise just said, "How do you do? I'm Carol Louise, and I'd be happy to help you look for your song." "Oh, that would be wonderful," said Ara Louise K. "Would you?" "Sure," said Carol Louise. and I can get more help for you too. Daly, Alfred, John, she called, and they all came running down Route 2 to see what Carol Louise wanted. All of them guys right there. quickly, quickly, she explained about Era Louise Kay and the lost song. Of course, Daly, Alfred, and John. By the way, Daly was my brother. Alfred and John are my cousins, Aunt Jean's sons. All said they'd be glad to look for it. They even brought Bonnie and a cat to help look too. Bonnie was the dog I grew up with. She was a puppy when I was a baby, and when I was 16 years old and she was 16 years old, she passed away. But I grew up with Bonnie. And that actually looks like Bonnie. I wonder if that's by design, if it just is a coincidence. By the way, asked Carol Louise, what does a song look like? Well, oh, look at him looking in the tree for a song. They're cute. Oh, and it's a white cat like mine. I have a white cat right now. Well, okay, so what does the song look like? Well, it's a little hard to describe, said the bird. Sometimes it's a snort. Sometimes it's long. Sometimes it's sweet, and sometimes it's sour. Sometimes it's bright and sparkly, and sometimes it's so soft you hardly know it's there. But when you see it, you know what it is. So Daly, Alfred, John, Carol Louise, Bonnie, and Cat, which my white cat's name is Kay, so we'll say Kay, where Cat is. And Kay and Era Louise Kay all looked like up and down Route 2. They looked under trees and bushes. They looked behind houses. They looked around flower beds. They even looked under the sofa where they could find almost everything else. But they didn't see anything short, long, sweet, sour, soft, bright, and sparkly. You know, said Era Louise Kay, I'm beginning to think I didn't lose my song in Lincoln after all. I think you're right, said Carol Louise, because if it were in Lincoln, it would surely be under my sofa. It's there someplace else. Is there someplace else where you might have lost your song? Oh, yes, said Carol Louise. Oh, this almost makes me cry. I miss Aunt Jean so much. And I miss my mom. So here they all are, powwowing, getting ready to go on an adventure. I fly to lots and lots of places. I guess I could have lost my song almost anywhere as I flew along. I'm afraid I'll just have to fly back the way I came and try to find it. I wish I could help you, said Carol Louise, but I can't fly. Suddenly, Era Louise Kay got a twinkle in his eye. I have an idea, he said. You could all ride on my back. Carol Louise, Daly, Alfred, and John all laughed. Why, said Carol Louise, we're too big to ride on your back. You are now, said the bird, but I know some magic that would make you small enough for me to carry every one of you. Listen carefully. You must touch your right elbow to your left knee. Close your eyes tight. Turn around to the left 5 times very fast and say the magic words. Could you guess what the magic words were? Oh, they're whispering it to each other right there. Era Louise Kay whispered them in Carol Louise's ear, and Carol Louise whispered them in Daly's ear, and Daly whispered them in Alfred's ear, and Alfred whispered them in John's ear. But when John started to whisper them in Bonnie's ear, he remembered that Bonnie and Cat couldn't say the magic words anyway, So they decided they'd just have to leave Bonnie and Kay at home. Then the children all touched their elbows to their knees and closed their eyes and turned around and said the magic words, Nick, S-E-S-C-U-O, Vorak. There they are, touching their elbows to their knees. And the magic words are Carol Louise King backwards. Suddenly, they felt themselves getting smaller and smaller. When they opened their eyes, the children could hardly believe what they saw. They were so tiny that pebbles looked as big as rocks. Even a flower or a blade of grass reached over them like a tree. Hop on my back and hold on tight, cried the bird. There they are, shrinking. Carol Louise, Daly, Alfred, and John scrambled up on Carol Louise Kay's back. Here we go, shouted Carol Louise, and he spread his wings, and all at once they were going up, up, up. Carol Louise looked down, and the ground seemed to get further and further away. They went soaring over rooftops and treetops till soon Lincoln was far behind, just like when I graduated high school. Pew! It was scary at first, but Carol Louise, who was a very brave girl, look at him, getting on the birdie's back. Love that. Just called, hold on tight. We won't fall. And pretty soon they were all enjoying the ride very much. Look at them, up in the clouds. That'd be cool, actually. Cars and people and houses looked like tiny toys below them. Once they flew right through a cloud, and it whirled all misty and white around them. Then they flew into the bright sunshine again. The children looked down on fields and gardens and rivers, winding between hills like little silver ribbons. But although they strained their eyes and looked, they didn't see anything short, long, sweet, sour, soft, bright, and sparkly. Soon, they were flying over a green forest. Like that. Let's stop here, said the bird. This is where I ate lunch yesterday. Maybe I left my song behind by mistake. Down, down, down they went. The green forest seemed to rush up and meet them. Down, down, past trees and bushes and branches, till suddenly they were on the ground again. The children slid off the bird's back. Ooh, that'd be fun. Let's look here, he said. I remember it was here where I found some choice earthworms. If I could find one now, I'd give it to you to try. Carol always thought a peanut butter sandwich would taste a lot better, but she didn't want to hurt Louise Kay's feelings by saying so. I'm really not hungry, she said. We'll just look for your song. And here they are looking. By the time the children were so tiny, it was hard to see very far. By this time, the children were so tiny, it was hard to see very far. But they did the best they could. They searched around ferns and violets and little green seedlings. Of course, it was fun, too. Once they jumped right into a big bed of moss. And it was just like falling into the softest pile of pillows you can imagine. And once they found a fat acorn and played catch with it. But they did not find anything that looked like a short, long, sweet, sour, soft, bright, sparkly song. Let's look by the pond, suggested the bird. I think I went there for a drink yesterday. So the children hopped on his back and off they flew, up, up, up. over the tops of the forest trees, then down, 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 down on the banks of a blue pond. There were lily pads growing up out of the pond, so Carol Louise jumped a big jump and leapt right out on the top of one. From there, she could see right down into the blue water. She could see bright pebbles on the bottom and little sweet silvery fish swimming through wavy pond grasses. But she did not see anything short, long, sweet, sour, soft, bright, and sparkly like a song. She saw something else, though. She saw a long red tongue and a wide green mouth, and above that, two huge round yellow eyes, and they were looking right at her. Dope! It was the biggest, fattest frog Carol Louise had ever seen. At least it was the biggest frog she had ever seen since she got to be so small. Look out, Carol Louise, Daly cried. Run, run, shouted Alfred and John. Louise K lifted his wings and flew right over the lily pad. Grab my feathers, he cried. Carol Louise did, just as the big frog snapped his long tongue at the lily pad. He thought you were a tasty fly, said Louise K. Well, said Carol Louise, I'm glad he didn't get a chance to find out. By this time, the sun was growing red and sinking lower and lower in the sky. So Louise K turned and flew back toward Lincoln, back over rivers and roads and rooftops, so they landed right at Route 2, where Bonnie and Kay were waiting. Thanks for helping me, said the bird. I skipped a page. No, I didn't. Did I lose a page? 24, 22, no, I didn't. Interesting. By this time, the sun was growing red and sinking lower and lower in the sky, so Louise K turned and flew back toward Lincoln, back over rivers and roads and rooftops, so they landed right at Route 2, where Bonnie and Kay were waiting. Thanks for helping me, said the bird, as the children slid off his back, even if we didn't find my song. Don't give up yet, said Carol Louise. I've heard grown-ups say that sometimes when you can't find something, it's because it's right under your nose. Louise K's nose is sort of his beak, so maybe we should look under his beak. Louise K bent over and opened his beak. Carol Louise stood up on her tiptoes and looked inside. Sure enough! Right there, caught inside his beak, was something long, short, sweet, sour, soft, bright, and sparkly. It was the Bluebird song! Just swallow hard, said Carol Louise, and your song will be right back in your throat where it belongs. Louise K gulped a big gulp. Try a tweet, said Carol Louise. Tweet, said Louise K. Try a chirp, said Daly. Chirp, said Louise K. Try a trill, said Alfred and John. Sang Louise K. Try a whole song, cried Carol Louise, and the bird began to sing. He sang long, he sang short, he sang sweet, and then he sang sour. He sang softly, then bright and sparkly. Yes, he did. Oh, Carol Louise, he cried, you found my song. You know what I'm going to do? When it's your birthday, I'm going to sing happy birthday just for you. By the way, when is your birthday? Why, it's April 27, said Carol Louise. What do you know, said Louise K. That's my birthday, too. I'll come and see you then. But now I must go. Wait, said Carol Louise, we're still tiny. How do we get big again? Oh, yes, said the bird. I nearly forgot. It's so simple. You just do all the magic backwards. The children tried to remember how to do the magic backwards. They touched their left elbows to their right knees. They opened their eyes, turned right 5 times, and said the magic words. Knick, a seal, or rat. But nothing happened. No, no, said Carol Louise Kay. You must say the magic words backwards too. Do you know how to say the magic words backwards? Children thought, and then they knew. They all shouted, Carol Louise King! And presto! They were big again. Yay! Now, I really must go, said the Bluebird. Thank you again for finding my song. Goodbye. And he was gone. Goodbye, the children called the children as they flew as their friend flew away. Goodbye. Goodbye. But that night, Carol Louise dreamed about flying over the treetops. And I did too, I betcha. And she always remembered how to say the magic words, just in case she needed to fly with Carol Louise Kay again. The end. And with that, I bid you adieu and peace.